Hello everyone. Welcome to the Modern Trade Communications webinar series. I'm Paul Deffenbaugh, the editorial director at Modern Trade, and we publish metal architecture and metal construction news magazines. Today we've got a great presentation for you called Prove Your Excellence, Earn the Metal Building Assembler AC478 Accreditation. It's part of our webinar series, and we're glad you've joined us and hope we can resolve lots of questions and interest in this new accreditation program. Before I turn the reins over to our panelists from the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association, I want to take care of a couple of housekeeping duties. We've got a lot of material here, and we've set it up so you can download the presentation in the handouts window, which you might see there on your screen. We're also recording the webinar, and we'll post it to our website in the video section so you can share or review it if you want. Tomorrow sometime, about 24 hours from now or from the end of this webinar, you're going to get an email, and it's going to have links to the video, and it will also have links to the slides so you can download them. I encourage you to submit questions. You should see a little screen there on your interface that has a way for you to submit questions. I'm going to monitor the questions, and then I'll raise them at the appropriate time with the panelists. And we're also saving room at the end of the presentation, time at the end of the presentation for your questions. So let's get started here. Today's presentation is sponsored by three longtime friends of the industry: Butler Manufacturing, Chief Buildings, and NCI Building Systems. All of these companies are accredited manufacturers who are supporting the effort to get metal building assemblers accredited. And I want to thank them for their support of the industry and their devotion to improving the knowledge and education of all the industry's participants. Our panelists today have spent a lot of time setting up the AC478 accreditation program and are dedicated to making it successful. I'll introduce each of them individually just before they speak, but here's an outline of how we're going to proceed. Jackie Maluta will give us an overview of the program. Mike Reynolds is going to speak to the importance of this program to our industry for assemblers and manufacturers and building owners. And Gary Smith is going to share how the accreditation process worked in his company. And we'll wrap up with Sandy McCracken, who will give us details on what to expect as you go through the accreditation process as far as inspections and that sort of thing. Right now, I'd like to introduce Jackie Maluta, who's going to do the first part of the presentation. Jackie's an experienced change manager. She's focused on process improvement as a means to enhancing the bottom line. She was a senior executive for a Fortune 100 company where she managed multi-million-dollar projects and international cross-disciplinary teams. Now she does consulting to bring her corporate skills to bear for the small business owner and entrepreneur. Her clients are a mix of for-profit and non-profit entities, and in 2007, she assisted Thomas Phoenix International to receive state and federal approval for an open shop apprenticeship program for assemblers of metal buildings. Jackie now assists the Metal Buildings Institute, administering the national guidelines for that program, and over the last couple of years, she's provided support to MBCA on the development of the AC478 accreditation program, including the development of training materials, documentation, and objective evidence for use by MBCA members who seek accreditation. So Jackie, I'm going to turn the mouse over to you and take it away.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I just want to do a quick review of why we did this program. We're doing this to enhance and elevate the perception of erectors. It's as simple as that. We did not set the bar so high that only the elite large firms can apply, nor is it so low that the program is meaningless. Erectors that are committed to safety training and education can and should qualify. The MBCEA is here to help you, and really we're doing this to have total project assurance. Paul mentioned our three sponsors are IAS AC472 accredited. Many of our other manufacturers are as well. This program takes it from the manufacturer all the way to the assembler. So what do you really need to do to become accredited? The first easy thing is to have a commitment to safety training and education. I'm assuming that you've got that one covered. The next piece is you need standard procedures that include those items listed on your screen. site-specific project plans, quality control plans, narratives regarding the erection. Many of you are doing this level of detail. Some of you only do it for complex jobs. Our project team felt it was important that these items be developed for every project that you do. It's good practice, it's good discipline, and it ensures that the buildings go up properly. I'm not going to speak too much more about that. Questions on those standard procedures can be addressed to Mike and Gary. The next thing you need is a contract with a third-party inspection agency. They're the ones that are going to make sure that you do have all your ducks in a row and that you are ready to meet with the IAS. And then the last thing is your documented management system. Oops, sorry. And I know this is the scary part. You're all doing this. You have some sort of management system. Your work gets done every day. You get to your job sites, you put your buildings up, you pay your bills, you collect your money. You just haven't documented what it is that you do. So the management system is a formal document. It states your operating procedures. You write down what you do, and then you do what you say. I use the word that this is the scary part, and I know that it is. But we've already written a draft document for you. So together, you and I can tweak this document to be specific to your company. And it's going to ask you to do a few things that you maybe aren't doing currently. Once a year, you're going to sit and review your management system. Are you still doing everything that you say you're doing? Your highest level of authority within the organization is going to have to sign off on it. You're going to have version control. You can't make changes to the document that you keep in the head office that you haven't disseminated out to your field. Sorry. The other thing the management system expects of you is an internal audit. If you notice on the lower right-hand corner, I have a little block where you plan what you're going to do. This is the way I assume you run your projects. Then you do what you've planned. Then you check your work. You make sure everything's done. If there's any corrections that need to be made, you take actions, and then you repeat the cycle. The same way you run your projects, you're going to run your management system. You're going to review it every year, make any modifications, make any changes, and then implement those changes. Your management system has to have a couple of statements in it. We've got statements regarding quality. You'll notice we have some pretty basic stuff here. You're going to ensure that you have adequate resources for all your projects and activities, whether that's equipment, staff, training, facilities, and even financial. You're going to make a comment about selecting subcontractors and other outsourced services that meet the requirements of this system. And by this system, I mean the management system as well as the criteria for AC478. The document refers as well to your organization structure. There's 4 key people that we refer to in the document. If you're a small company, we don't care if this is only one person. It's the role and job that is important. So we want a safety manager, we want a training manager, and we want a quality manager, even if that's the same person. The document is also going to detail your training program. You need to write down what you do for new hires, what you do within 6 months of a hire, what you do within a year. What's your training standards for your general laborers, your journey workers, your foremen. Too often we have good intentions about what we do, but unless it's written down and there's a checklist, you may not be consistent in your implementation, and that's one of the reasons why we're writing this down. So we have an example of a training program. All newly hired entry-level field personnel have immediate access to the MBI Quality and Craftsmanship Training Series in order to familiarize themselves with the trade. Then, within their first 6 months, we make sure they receive the following training. Now, this is a generic example. Depending on where your place of business is, the types of buildings you put up, you might only have 2 or 3 of those items. You might have other items. This is all tweaked to your business. The important thing is, if you say you do something, that you do it. So don't say it unless you're going to do it. We have some procedures regarding on-the-job training. As we all know, the vast majority of our training is on-the-job training. We assign the new guy to one of the older guys, but we want to make sure that he does get all the knowledge passed down to him. So we need to document how we're going to do that. Come on. Similarly with your safety program. In your management system, you're going to document that you have a safety program, that it meets at a minimum OSHA standards and other applicable regulatory requirements, and that the safety manager is going to have a documented procedure for the development of a job site-specific safety plan upon award of a contract or prior to commencement of work. And that ties back to that earlier slide where I said that all jobs do have those elements. There's some other sections in there that makes it a complex, scary document, but again, they're pretty boilerplate. We're going to include some job descriptions. We're going to have a statement that you carry workman's comp insurance and general liability insurance. We're going to have an org chart. Again, we have a sample document that you can use if you're an MBCEA member, and we can tweak it together or you can tweak it on your own. I know this is the big elephant in the room. This is an overview of the fees. In year 1, IAS comes to your site. That third-party inspector that you've contracted with, they're going to charge you an annual fee as well as a fee to come to your site. There is some internal preparation required, whether you have this stuff ready or not. Year 2, they're coming back and verifying everything again. Year 3 and in subsequent alternate years, the IAS is not coming to your site. They will do what's called a desk audit. So you'll just send them some paperwork. There is help available from the MBCEA, and we're working on financial support help as well. So in our members only area, in our members only area, we have some forms and templates, we have documents, we have that draft management system. I'm available to come to your facility or to set up a telephone conference with you. And then, as I mentioned, we have a potential for financial support. So that's the program in a nutshell. I'm going to turn things over to Paul and Mike and take it from there.
Thank you, Jackie. And I'm sure that raises lots of questions for everybody. And the subsequent, don't hesitate to post your questions here on the screen, and we'll get to them. We're saving questions till the end as well, so we'll leave time there. But you might find that Mike and then Gary and Sandy also fill out a few more of the details. And right now I want to introduce Mike Reynolds, who's the president of the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association, and he's also president and principal owner of Systems Contractor Incorporated, which is based in Thornton, Colorado. He's a member of the Steel Erectors Safety Association of Colorado and the Metal Building Institute. And Mike's recognized for an extensive knowledge and his expertise in both structural steel and metal building systems. He also serves on the erection and safety advisory panels for several building system manufacturers. Mike, take it away.
All right, I want to thank everybody for this opportunity. Before I get into this, I really got to stress the point that everybody needs to get on board with this program. This is creating a level of professionalism that so many other trades already have. And we need to start moving forward with this program and building the teams and the professionalism that our industry has been missing up to this point. So first of all, I want you to think of this as a price on your return on investment. It's like purchasing another piece of equipment, and it's a key point to enhancing your company. And we all go out and buy a new tool or a new item that makes us more efficient and better in our industry, and this is just another tool that we can put in our belt and help our industry and your company become stronger. And consider the opportunity to improve operating efficiency, quality of the end product. You know, by putting this program in and putting all the key components to what we're doing here, you're going to find that your quality level is going to increase, your efficiency is going to increase, and the end product is going to be the quality that you are looking for to sell your name. Now, by documenting systematic ways of running your business makes your business more sellable, aids in a succession plan. You know, most of us have run our businesses by the seat of our pants, by how we've done it in the past. We've never sat down and really wrote down procedures and plans for your field, your staff in the office. We just kind of did it day by day and reacted accordingly. And that also goes with aiding you in your succession plan. You know, how do you sell your business in the end if it's all up in your head? How do you show people that you have a viable product out there to be sold? So this is key levels for our industry. Now it's going to level the playing field for assemblers, fills the voids in the specification language. Now, we're not trying to knock out anybody. We're not trying to get rid of any of the erectors or any of the people in our industry. All we're trying to do is raise that bar up, make our whole industry stronger, make everybody do a better job. This also creates a standard that code officials and regulation agencies can use to show that erectors meet the level that they're looking for. You know, that it's a documentation program showing that you have the procedures that you need to assemble a metal building properly. Now, some of the specification language that's going to be in there for assemblers or / erectors is referenced in IAS 478. This is just pulling us back to the main program and showing people that we have created a system that makes sure that we have the quality and craftsmanship that we need for our industries. There'll be documentation in the submittals, a copy of the IAS accreditation certification. Now, this is also going to enhance risk management. You will now have the tools to work your jobs, show your employees how you want it done, document it, and moving forward, the proper procedures to getting that done. Now, that's more than just going out there and laying down the prints and making sure that they're following that plan. That's making sure that we're putting in erection plans, what we're going to do each day. We're inspecting all of our equipment. We're putting all of those key points together to make sure that we are doing a good job. Proof that you are good as you say you are. Now, times I've gone out there and I'm trying to sell myself in the industry that I'm better than the next guy. And the only things that we've been able to go to in the past have been, I'm capable of bonding, or I have a line of credit with a bank, or I have a bank reference trying to explain that I'm a good quality business and I'm strong in my industry. Well, this actually gives me a tool that I can say, hey, I meet the standards that are above and beyond. I can show everybody that I am a strong, confident erector. I run a good business. I'm not a fly-by-night business. I'm going to show that I have been accredited and I am competent to do the job that you are asking me. Confidence of the marketplace. Architects, specifiers, owners, and members of the public, they're looking for something to show them that you meet what they are looking for. By accreditation, we're going to show that we have actually gone through a procedure, had a third-party inspector come in, take a look at our paperwork, take a look at our company and our procedures, and show that we're a qualified company and that we can do the work that they're asking us to. Now, this is going to give us our due diligence. Accredited companies have a stronger defense against litigation. Now, I want everybody to think about that for a minute. Unfortunately, I've been in construction long enough, and I don't know anybody that has been in construction for any length of time that hasn't ended up at some point in litigation. Now, typically that comes down to what your documentation was in the project and everything that you put together day by day to create a great defense to prove your case. So far, every time I've been in litigation, it wasn't my problem that brought me to that table. However, having the proper documentation and everything else gave me the defense that I needed to get through that legalities and all of that part of litigation that we all don't like. For prospective customers, accreditation gives you a tool to sell your business. It shows that you are professional, you're strong in your industry, and that you actually have put forth the effort to do more than just come out there and throw up a building and leave. You're going to make sure that all of the components are installed properly, all your people are properly trained, and assure them that you are an efficient company that's going to meet the standards that are needed for the professionalism to do them a good job. For federal government and other regulatory agencies, this is going to serve as a base for them to draw a line in the sand. And so many times out there when you're trying to get a job, you're trying to find something that sets you above and beyond everybody else. Now, this program actually labels you as a qualified erector and will give you the tools to sell yourself in the industry.
Thanks very much, Mike. That's a great presentation on what the benefits are for the industry and for individuals, and it really can be a game changer for the industry. And I'd like to introduce next Gary T. Smith, who's the president of Thomas Phoenix International. It's a metal building assembler. He's the past president of the MBCA, and he now serves as the president of the Metal Buildings Institute. Gary has more than 30 years of design, manufacturing, and construction experience throughout North America, Central America, the Caribbean, and the Middle East. He writes and speaks frequently on the fact that blue collar used to mean low-paying, menial, back-breaking work for those who couldn't get into college. And the modern reality, he argues, is that manufacturing is a high-tech, advanced industry that requires skilled and talented people, and many of them will earn more per year than their college-educated peers. He's a champion and driving force of the accreditation program, and his company was one of the first to complete the process. Gary?
Hi, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm real hesitant to go on with such a glowing review. But, I don't recognize myself. A couple of points I'd like to make before I get into this. You notice as we've been talking, we go from steel building, metal building systems assemblers to erectors. As the years have went by, we've always considered ourselves erectors, when in actual fact, the legal terminology that we had confirmed by the federal government was a metal building systems assembler. So legally, technically, that's what we got. And we established this by proving to the federal government that when a truckload of steel comes and it's a systems type or system type building, then it qualifies under, then we qualify then as a systems assembler. So we go back and forth, but and the reason I make a point on that is erectors now, they want to be referred, erectors to be a structural steel gun. They want to be referred that way. So we don't like to step on any toes. We don't like to be called iron workers. We are metal building systems assemblers. Okay, now getting back to the AC478. It's a game changer for the company. My company went through it, and I'm just going to hit some of the points that we noticed. It gave us a consistent way of looking at things, saves time and truth, productivity, because I found out that when my men were more aware of what they were doing, why they were doing it, and then had to document it at the end of the day, they began to fix their own mistakes and improve themselves. The avenues of communication being clearer. This is a big, big plus, and I'm going to get into this a little bit later when it comes to things like billing, like discipline, like training. Documenting job roles and use of a checklist has improved productivity and quality. Up until now, I don't think my company had had a proper written job description for people like general foreman, a regular foreman, a lead hand, a journeyman, and an apprentice, because of limitations to each part of it. And we knew what they were, but they were not actually written down. This made me write it down. And as I'm writing it down, and as a company, as we're writing it down, I improved on it. And then I sat everyone down, and I think that the employees felt a lot more comfortable knowing what was expected of them and why. So again, keeping on the same things, written down rather than in your head, look at all the years we walked around with that little black book in our back pocket. And we'd be writing down production, we'd be writing down what we paid the guys, we'd be writing down all this little black book. Then you lose the little black book, then what happens? Or someone gets sick, so emergency, or vacation, moving people around, who's qualified and has been certified to, say, put a standing seam roof on. But writing everything all down and having everything in a written form in the office means that if something does happen to someone on the job, they get sick or whatever, we can take a qualified person, verifying the qualifications in the office, and replace that person. The other thing that Mike touched on was the succession plans and sale of the business. If your company has went through the process of getting the AC478 accredited, then the value of your company, it goes up dramatically. It makes your company, just in everyone's head, whether it be the bank, the person buying it, people working, it makes your company more saleable because you went through all this, and people can look at your production and look at how you're doing in front of them, in writing. You don't have to sell them. The business will sell itself because it's all there in writing. And then we all know about the cost of not doing it right the first time. Jackie had actually made a good point when it comes to callbacks. It's one thing to do a callback down the road where you've got a problem that has to be fixed because you put the building up and there's a leak or whatever. But if that, in my case, could be 500 miles away in another state, then all of a sudden I have to put a guy on a plane, I got to get him down there, I got to give him per diem, accommodations, and that costs a lot of money. If it had been done right the first time and all the records were kept in order the first time, you wouldn't have to go back. And we all know that callbacks come off the bottom line. Okay, so before the AC478, as you go down through this list, I've touched on a couple of things, the slips of paper, random notes about a job, organized chaos when it came to bill issue change. We all know we have a billing. We'll say it's the 25th of the month. All of a sudden, there you are, it's a Friday, and it's the 21st, and you say, oh my, got to have my billing in by Tuesday. So now you're running around with how much of the job is done, how much red steel is up, how much can I bill? If you stay organized the way the AC478 asks you to do, you a lot of times don't have to leave your office. You can do it because the paperwork's all in front of you. You should know exactly how far along that building is, and you should be able to bill it accordingly. A disorganized job folder. A lot of my foremen, I'd ask them for weekly job reports. When did they do it? Every Friday. They didn't do it every day as they're supposed to do. Time-intensive project management to ensure everything that was done supposed to be done and was done. Again, if it's not in writing, how do you really know that it was done? After it, as you go down the right-hand side, you'll see it's a systematic way of documenting a job. Everyone knows where to find things and how to document it. These documents that we're talking about they're sort of boilerplate, they're easy to fill out, everyone's doing it the same way, and it's not hard at all. The use of checklists ensures everyone's on the same page. An organized job file folder that's readily available on the job site can save you a lot of heartache, whether it comes to OSHA visits, whether it comes to billing. It just gives you a smooth and efficient project management type job. So, as far as the employees, document and communicated roles and responsibilities. At the beginning, my foreman were not comfortable with using electronic devices to document their work progress. But as they got used to it, and we made it as simple as we can, they're now saying a few months later, why didn't you do this years ago? It's so much easier for them to be able to keep track of how much red steel went up and how many man hours are put into it on a daily basis. And the other thing is, through this AC478, we started to distinguish exactly who was the foreman, who was the general foreman, who was the lead hand, who was the journeyman. We made our wages and our responsibilities transparent so that everyone had a career path. They knew that if they were just starting out, they wanted to be a journeyman, they had it in writing what they had to do to become a journeyman. If they wanted to become a lead hand, they had it in writing what they had to do. It's helped me retain my people. One of the biggest problems that we've had in our industry is we train someone and they go and work for somebody else. Well, by being as organized as we are now, not only has my company morale went up, but the loyalty. And those three things are all associated. In other words, if your guys are loyal and the morale is good, you're going to retain them. But you have to work. If you look at the bottom, it says even my foremen who are not computer literate or hate paper have embraced this. They were a little slow at the beginning because they didn't know how to work some of the software that we're using. But it's really easy, and they all have phones, you know, so it wasn't even that much of an expense to do it. So getting started. And this is the part that's scary, and I don't think we covered this enough, so we'll say getting started. What are you going to do? Really, Jackie or someone like her from the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association will come right to your business, sit down with you, and go over the stuff that you already have. Analyze it, say, okay, if that's going to work, let's put it in writing, but you're going to need some help here. She'll supply the forms, she'll help you fill it out, she'll ask about your business, and in a very personable way. She knows that you've been in business a long time. She knows that you not necessarily have everything in place, and she's there to help you. By the end of the day, in most cases, Jackie came back to me and said it only took 2 or 3 hours. I expected to spend the whole day, but the guy was doing everything, and all we had to do was get him to put it in writing. So, I mean, that's a big plus and very comfortable. Jackie's a really nice person. She's going to make, and she knows the business. She's been around me for 7 or 8 years, so she knows the business well. So once she has that management system in place, and this is where a lot of guys don't really understand, well, what is this inspection agency? The inspection agency works for you. He's on your side. He's your team. He's going to come in after Jackie has been there and actually officially make sure that every piece of paper is in order, that's documented, and not only is it documented, but you're actually doing it, filling it out in the field, coming back as information, and they'll work with you to make sure when you're ready to submit your application and then have your on-site assessment, everything is in order. And why do they do that? Real simple. That assessor has to come back 2 or 3 times. It could cost you more money. We're trying to do this quickly and efficiently. The assessor isn't going to help you. We're just going to see that they're in place. They're going to be as friendly and help you fix any mistakes that they find and give you time to improve on it and time to fix it. But the actual follow-through of all these responsibilities, you're going to get help from both Jackie and your inspection agency. So I'd say any question, the thing I can't stress too much is that between the help you get from the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association via all the templates that are on our website, the fact that the Metal Building Contractors and Erectors Association are willing to send one of our key personnel to your establishment to help you get set up on this, and then getting it's not as hard as some people are trying to make it out. It's actually a very efficient process, and more than likely you're doing it all as we talk. Anyway, I hope I gave you some information that you can use.
Thank you, Gary. That was great. And again, I encourage everybody to ask questions. I've got a couple here I'm going to hold on to the end, but if you have questions, don't hesitate. And let's go on now to Sandy McCracken. Sandy works for the International Accreditation Service, which is a subsidiary of the International Code Council, and she's currently managing about 6 accreditation programs. She's been instrumental in the development of the most recent accreditation programs for steel construction, and she's been directly involved with structural steel fabrication for more than 35 years, predominantly in quality assurance and quality control. She has delivered training for special inspection agencies approved by the Professional Institute of Engineers and the New York Structural Steel Engineer Association several times in New York, and she's also delivered special inspection agency training to the Las Vegas Building Department. In addition, she's worked with membership organizations such as MBCA to assist with their goals and implementation of programs that strengthen their perception and efficiency in supplying excellent service to their customers. Sandy, tell us what you got there.
Thank you, Paul. My name is Sandy McCracken. I'm Senior Manager with International Accreditation Service. IAS is a fully owned subsidiary of the International Code Council, and we've had accreditation programs for a very long time. The process, you've heard from the industry professionals and experts such as Mike and Gary already being through the program, and Jackie part of the technical and review committees to develop this program. Now we're down to the process. The process is really very simple. Once you've determined a commitment to this program, the rest is easy. You submit your application to IAS. You select your accredited inspection agency. They help you review your quality manual to ensure that you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed to the requirements of AC478. When the inspection agency confirms that your manual is in sufficient compliance with AC478, they contact IAS, and we work with you to schedule an on-site joint assessment of your facility. During the assessment, we'll have a report. We'll identify the findings. If there are nonconformances and concerns or corrective action requests, we'll submit to you those in writing, and you'll have instructions on how to respond to those corrective actions or nonconformances. Once that is wrapped up, accreditation certificate is issued, and your inspection agency will continue to visit your facility on an annual basis. IAS will come after your first year anniversary, and then every 2 years thereafter. So if you go to our website, you have all the information there. It's available to you. If you go to our website and click on application information, it will take you to, the application information, the rules of procedure, the accreditation criteria, some news related to your industry, and some meetings and events. As Jackie pointed out earlier, the scariest part is the quality management system. I'm sorry. So if you just think of this like a pyramid, and you think my quality policy, my policy of my organization is to meet the AC478 requirements. That's your policy. You'll need procedures to support that policy, and a procedure describes who does what, when, where, how, and why. And the committee made that very easy for you because all the required procedures that you need to submit in your quality management system are included in the AC478 accreditation criteria document. So then you write your procedures that are required in AC478, and then you have tools to support your procedures. Your tools are your data sheets, your inspection forms, your project-specific layout, your summary about the erection plan, and then you have records to support your data sheets. It's only a document until it's filled out, and then once it's filled out, it becomes a record. And your records are your certificates of training, your safety training records, inspection reports, test data, and calibration services, things of that nature. Okay. the objectives of your organization can be to improve safety and quality. Up at the previous slide, I had AC478 as your policy, but you could use safety and quality to drive your vessel. And in that case, you can use AC478 as a tool to reach your goals. AC478 is a management approach, and it begins with top management support. You know, you can't inspect quality in, you need to build it in, and inspection is simply verification. What is going on? Becky, could you help me with that? IAS will, prior to visiting your facility, will send you an agenda. And in the agenda, we'll have the opening meeting, and we'll include introductions, purpose of the assessment, review of and adjustments to agenda if necessary. We'll also discuss a tour of a project, the accommodations. The agenda will also ask for office space to accommodate your selected staff, plus IAS and your inspection agency. Next slide. Well, after the assessment, we'll have a closing meeting, and we'll submit our findings to you. It's a formal report, and in the event there are corrective action requests or nonconformances, those will be identified and clear instructions on what to do to the time element and how to satisfy those requirements. Once you meet the requirements of AC478, IAS will issue you a certificate of accreditation, and you'll be able to use the IAS AC478 accredited mark on your forms, your documents, your advertisement, and IAS also has hard hat stickers that they'll be issuing to those who are accredited. So steps to AC478 accreditation summary: you submit an AC478 application to IAS, you include the appropriate fee, you select an IAS accredited inspection agency who reviews your management system and your cross-reference matrix. They're required to sign your cross-reference matrix, indicating that your organization is in sufficient compliance to schedule an on-site joint assessment with IAS, and your inspection agency and IAS must be present during that initial assessment. And then once you meet all the requirements of AC478 during or shortly after the assessment as described in your report that you will receive, then you'll get your certificate of accreditation.
Thank you, Sandy. Mike, let me bring you back in here, and I'm sure we're racking up a lot of questions. I want to get to those, but why don't you put a bow around this for us?
Well, basically, prove your excellence, earn your AC478. This is a standard recognizing metal building system assemblers that are committed to excellence. It's a standard to level the playing field, improve your end product. Prove that you have the professionalism, organization, experience, knowledge, management procedures, and commitment to assemble metal building systems. It's a standard that you can aspire to, be measured and held accountable. This is a complement to the AC472 program and a means to the end, the end being to win more projects.
Great, thank you, Mike. Now I want to take questions, and I've got a few of them here, and thanks to all of our speakers for taking time to talk about this program. I've been watching for a while the development of this accreditation program, and I think it just for Metal Construction News and all of us here, we think that it has the potential to just raise the level of professionalism across the industry and be the next step that the industry needs to just kind of establish itself as a professional industry that is consistent and high quality and benefit company owners in a lot of different ways, some of which have been articulated here. Questions. One of the questions, and Gary, you have been through the accreditation process. Mike, yes, you have are almost completed with the accreditation process. The question here is, all right, I've got a pretty good company, and I've got my systems kind of in order, but like everybody says, they're not documented. How long will it take me to go through this process, and how much time am I going to internally? Now, I know that's kind of a big question because there's a lot of variables there, but what am I looking at? Is my 30 hours a week for 6 weeks, or how's it going to work out? Gary, go ahead.
It's okay.
Oh.
In my case, I had, I'd say 50% of the stuff was already done. The good thing is, with Jackie being there, in a matter of a day, we had all the documents done. As far as how many hours a week it's going to take you, well, obviously these documents have to do the full circle. You put the documents together, then they have to go out in the field, they have to be recorded in the field and end up coming back to the office. And this is going to take some time. The actual preparation for doing this, yeah, it's going to take some hours, but I don't think it's exorbitant hours. I don't think you can think like 30 hours a week. I think it's too much, but I think you should be prepared to pick one person like we did in our company to look after it. So I would say that one person in my particular case takes about a day a week. So I'm going to say 8 hours per week to make sure that all the paperwork is in order.
Cool. Mike, is that similar to what you experienced?
I would agree with that. I mean, a lot of it is the foreman's taken 10 to 15 minutes a day to fill out the paperwork. Your project manager taken 20 minutes a day to verify that it got into the system and was properly filed. So it's more of just little segments for each individual, but it's not a huge 30 hours a week type thing. It's 8 to 10 hours, like Gary said.
Yeah. You know, another question here is, you know, we all got into construction because we like to get things done, and we get that nice sense of accomplishment at the end of the day that actually you did something. And, you know, filling out paperwork is not, doesn't fit into that model very much. Did you meet resistance? You talked about that a little bit, and, you know, how did you overcome that resistance doing this kind of paperwork stuff? And what value, I mean, I can kind of see the value. What's the true value and what's the payoff for doing the paperwork? Give me the hard payoff for it.
Okay, I'll go first again, and then Mike can follow up with my comments. Was there any resistance? Absolutely. Some of my foremen said, whoa, I don't even own a smartphone. I mean, how am I going to? But we sat them down and we went over it, and we proved to them, and it's common sense. They had paperwork due anyway. It was inefficient. We had problems getting information back. They knew it. When they got trained, which only took about a week or two, they began to realize they could go home a lot earlier. It was very quick and very efficient. So was there resistance? Yes. And if you're not computer literate or don't have an iPhone and know how to operate it, yes, there is some problems. But I'm telling you, that's the way of the future. As far as what you're going to receive, well, I could name about 10 of them, or just a few. Number one, all the manufacturers are behind us 100%. So the manufacturers of the, I'm not going to name any brands, but your steel building supplier, when he finds out you're accredited, you are going to get pleasantly surprised. Believe me, it's already happening to me, because I'm the only guy here in this area that's accredited. I've already got big manufacturers that are saying, look, we have this huge airplane hangar. You're the only accredited guy out there. Could you give us a price on it? That didn't really happen before. That's number one. Number two, once the building inspectors and start finding out about it, they're going to start specifying AC478, possibly might not have to be inspected because they already have a written report on everything that's happening in the job site. Number three, the architects and engineers. They're now specifying that the building be manufactured by an AC472 manufacturer. They are chomping at the bit to start specifying on their intricate type jobs that the erector or the steel building assembler also be AC478 accredited. So that's just a few of the returns that you're going to get, and they're going to happen quickly.
Great. Mike, you got, how did you overcome that aversion to paperwork on the job site?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm still trying to overcome it. Ironworkers generally don't like to do paperwork, and it's a procedure, and part of your procedures is making sure that they do. And they're starting to understand it and getting their arms around it and feeling confident about what they're doing, but it's a constant management tool. Nobody wants to do more than they have to. Now that they're starting to see the returns like Gary talked about, they are more receptive to the program, but it is more work for them. So you have to keep the procedures going, and now that they're seeing how evaluating the employees, getting the career path set up, and all of those things are coming into play, they're getting more receptive, but you still have to do your due diligence.
Great, thanks. Hey, Jackie, another question about the MBCEA's role in this. I think you and Gary and Mike have all mentioned the support that MBCEA can provide to members interested in that. Can you give us a little bit more detail about what that kind of support looks like from the association?
Absolutely. I want to be clear that the MBCEA makes no money from this program. We developed it with the money that we raise through our membership dues as a benefit for our members and as the right thing to do for the industry. So if you're a member of the MBCEA, you're going to have access to the help that I'm going to share with you right now. As Mike and Gary went through the program, they were already using a lot of forms, a lot of checklists. Other members of the technical committee were also using forms and checklists, and they created some new ones. All of those documents have been gathered together and are available on our website, mbcea.org, in the members only area. So if you find, you know, I normally do a site-specific plan, but I've never written an erection narrative. I mean, you know, we just talk that through. I don't write that down. Well, in the members only area are a couple of samples of an erection narrative that you might say, okay, so now I see the way Gary does it, I see the way Mike does it. Yeah, I can do this document, and you write your own. Similarly with checklists. So there's lots of forms available. Gary keeps mentioning my level of support, whether it's telephone calls back and forth, emails back and forth, or me physically coming to your site for a day. The MBCEA fronts that. There's no expense to you as a member for that. Our goal is to help you get prepared and help you get ready to become accredited. So there's that level of support. And then we'll do ongoing training sessions like this, whether it's at our conference, at a chapter meeting, at MetalCon we'll have a session. At our MetalCon session, we're actually going to create your management system. So if you register for the class, we'll do it together online. Those sections that I had up on my slides where I said this is an example or this is some boilerplate stuff, we'll talk through it, make the changes right then and there, and by the end of the day you'll have a stick to take back to your company with a management system that's been modified to your company. So the level of support is as much or as little as you want it to be. I don't expect you to understand how to maneuver through the members only area. There's a lot of documents there, but sometimes if you call me or email me and say, I need some examples of this, I'll just shoot you the document right back to you, and it's as simple as that. I'm here to help.
Great. All right. Thank you, Jackie. Hey, Sandy, one of the things that had come up during your presentation is that you get to the end of your assessment process and you deliver your assessment report, and there are these corrective action requests. And I know that maybe assemblers are probably kind of the idea of an outside organization coming in and doing an assessment and doing corrective action requests can be a little bit daunting. Probably not to the level of maybe the IRS or OSHA, but it can be a little bit daunting to let somebody come in and see all your warts and all of that. Talk a little bit about those corrective action requests and their nature and how you resolve that stuff.
Okay, well, IES, when they come and do an assessment at your facility to the AC478 requirements, we simply go by the the section of AC478, and we'll ask you where in your manual it is and the effective implementation of that. So we'll be asking for objective evidence that you have effectively implemented your checklist, your procedures, what you had in your manual when we reviewed it. In the event you are not 100% with that, for example, we go do an assessment and you said that the green bolts go in the red boxes, and we go out there and the green bolts are in the green box. Well, you said the green bolts were going to be in the red box, so we will write that up as a corrective action request because clearly you were not in conformance with your own written procedure. So we'll write that on our assessment report, and we may have a couple other items similar to that, or we may have an item where you mostly are in compliance, but we have a concern, and we may just have a comment. So we have comments, concerns, and corrective actions. The concerns and the corrective actions must be responded to. The difference is with a concern, you respond verbally or in a written what you plan to do to remedy this situation. A corrective action request requires you to submit objective evidence that you've effectively implemented a new plan for that. It was a systemic failure within your organization, something you thought was going on just wasn't working for you. So it gives you an opportunity for continuous improvement within your facility. It's not like we're the steel police and we're coming out there and going to shoot you down or look for areas where you don't meet the requirements of AC478. We are going there to see ways that you do meet the requirements of AC478. And as Jackie spoke before, we clearly cannot be consultants as an accreditation body, but we are there to offer help, but we're not there as the steel police.
It feels more it does feel more not consulting, but it's not punishment. It is corrective and help with corrective measures, with the end game of making sure that the procedures are in place. Yeah. So one final question before we sign off, and it's kind of a big picture question, and maybe Mike, you can address this. Is MBCA is interested in getting this up and going and across the industry, and maybe you can give us if you have an opportunity to talk about where we are in the process of rolling the AC478 out and the benefit to jumping on this early.
Well, the whole process is going to gain strength by numbers. The plan is to keep moving forward, get quite a few companies accredited, and the manufacturers are definitely on board wanting to put this as a requirement to erecting their buildings, along with the code officials and architects and engineers are all interested in putting in a play where we have to meet a certain level. And that's going to be the key. The more we participate, the more we get involved, the stronger this program is going to be, and it's going to benefit all of us in the long run.
Excellent. Well, thank you much to our panelists for taking the time to put together this presentation, and I'm sure they are open to more questions and follow-up if you like. If you want to send questions to me, I will funnel them to the right people and help you along the way. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Chief Buildings, Butler Manufacturing, and NCI Building Systems, for your support of this webinar and also your support of the accreditation program and your example through your own accreditation. We appreciate it very much, and thank you all for listening in, and in about 24 hours you can receive an email with more information about where the recording is and where the handouts are. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.